Last but not least, someone who wears many hats, I know, but Arpit Mehta, who is an expert in bioinformatics and is also the co-founder and CEO of Intellect. Arpit comes to us today with a talk titled Healing Divides with Jain Compassion, Bridging Polarized Societies and Social Media Divides. Thank you so much for joining us.
Jayendra, and thank you, Jonathan. Let me share my slide and see if you guys can see it. We start from there. Right, is the presentation visible? Okay. Well, Jai Jinendra, everyone, and thank you, the panelists, Ankit, Hitali, and Pratik, for sharing such insightful, topics and information, and taking, the panel and enlightening all of us about like different nuances of Jain Compassion. So topic for me is healing divides with Jain Compassion. So I was thinking when asked to be on the panel, I was like, I'm not from a very Jain scholarly background, right? So from a layman's perspective, what is something which I'm seeing a lot these days is polarization on the social media. So I see the communities, people are commenting, pro and against a lot of topics. They're discussing things on the social media, and it's kind of created a atmosphere with like so many things going on worldwide, whether it's elections, wars, whether it's vaccine campaigns or things which one person believes in or not. Veganism, people don't want to be vegan. Some people, are advocating why they should not be. So all sort of these different opinions coming in and culminating on the platform. So everybody is now can sit on the screen and give an opinion about things, and then it creates divides. And then how can we bridge this divide with the Jain Compassion? So trying to understand why these divides, propagate so much. The social media platform kind of, enables a lot of echo chambers. So people are talking, and then, someone shares their experience, although others may have not lived it, but they keep thinking that something like that can happen to me. And then things are bouncing back of those chambers, and it kind of creates an atmosphere where the divides becomes very prominent. And then coming off the social media, when people are interacting in real world, these kind of mindsets kind of trickle down and cause a lot of thoughts which used to not exist, I think, or were limited or respected in previous times, which are not prevalent anymore. There's identity and group affiliation. So people associate with certain groups or political parties or a thought, and then it kind of becomes that whoever is not thinking that is against me. And that kind of also causes these divides. There's economic and social inequalities with Pratik talked about a lot. There is political manipulation and exploitation of these divides going on around. At the end of the day, this benefits the political polarization specifically benefits the political mindsets or political leaders in a way, and they kind of propagate it with their marketing tactics and cause it to widen more. And one of the biggest challenges, misinformation. So, I'll talk to you when we are using more and more AI. I was interacting with ChatGPT, and there was a physics problem my nephew had, and I was like, I solved it. Let me double check with AI whether it's correct or not. I put it there, and surprising, the result was different than what I got. And after confirming 2 or 3 times, I realized AI was wrong. So the misinformation can sometimes, also come from there, because there's a long, learning models which are on the AI spaces, and they may not be always accurate. And a lot of references, people just immediately try to Google a term. And I can tell you, from whatever perspective you Google, there's always an article which would support your claim. So a lot of time research and development and people's voices are shaped up from opinions which are available online, but how far it is from the truth, nobody knows. So that misinformation is, again, another big issue for the polarization. So now, how do we bridge this, right? And Jainism, obviously, we all have talked about it throughout the conference, that have principles which can help us bridge those divides. And digital compassion, and I don't know if this term exists or not, but I think this is an important, very, very important piece, how it can help bridge this gap. Ahimsa, nonviolence in its all, So compassionate and respectful communication is very important. When we are responding, we don't react, we respond, is the best way to approach a situation. Anikantwada, which is openness to diverse viewpoints. Obviously, there are what polarization absolutely is coming from diverse viewpoints. Like some people believe in one versus the other idea, right? And to bridge this, I think respecting others' opinion is as important as much as propagating your own idea. So Anikantwad is another principle which really helps in that. And then third, very beautiful concept of Maitri Bhavna, or friendliness, right? So even when you're interacting with somebody with an opposed point of view, your kindness would reflect in your interactions with them if you're genuine about it, right? So Maitri Bhavna, coming from the heart, even when you are giving a different opinion or perspective, can actually really help diffuse the tension which is created because of a comment which is not taken very nicely by others. So all these three principles are very, very crucial in kind of bridging this divide. Now let's see, we have seen a lot of articles, thoughts, and also evidently around a lot of negative information or negative thoughts propagated by social media. But this itself can be a tool to actually help bridge the divide, because the platform is open. It is how we use it that defines how the outcome is going to be. And I'll give you some examples. There was an initiative called Be Kind, which was run on the social media with this hashtag. It encouraged kindness and empathy online. People were responding to cyberbullying incidences, campaigns like Social Media Kindness Day, which was prompting users to pledge kindness and share supportive messages, resonates with the impact compassion can create into these in the social media spaces. And I'm pretty sure most of you will remember Caden. He was a little kid who was bullied due to dwarfism. This viral video kind of evoked global empathy, which means that people are empathetic. It's not that we are away and everybody is polarized and hatred is the only thing which flows. People are by default empathetic as well. And then community support transcended. Caden eventually got a role in the Mad Max Furiosa, the movie. So you can see how, and this is all online. None of us or people who have supported Caden met him in person, but just on social media, by propagating these ideas of empathy, we can be united, and compassion was uniting people there. So that was a very good example I wanted to share. Now, we talked about, and then because I'm not a scholar, I'm coming from a layman perspective, I always, as running a company, I think about what are the practical action items? What are those some things which from this talk you guys can think about, reflect, and see if we can really help implement that in our lives when we're interacting on social media. The first one is pause and reflect, ahimsa, right? So when you're responding, respond thoughtfully and not reactively. And I have, all of us on our devices now have AI enabled, and use of this technology can really enable compassionate communication. If you ask me how, what I do is whenever I am, interacting or sending an email, which is a sensitive email, I do put it on ChatGPT and I ask it, like, can you, kind of make it more, polite, make it more humble, and not to cause a hurt, like any kind of hurt to anybody else. And it responds. It gives me a beautiful way. The same thought can be propagated and learned. So learning to respond thoughtfully and help. Don't shy away from using AI to do that. So that's one way I would recommend. We can pause and reflect and respond. Then active listening. We need to listen to different perspectives. A lot of times when I'm talking to people about Jainism, why we are vegetarian, why we are vegans, a lot of thoughts come from them, and they are saying that no, this idea we don't believe in, and all of that. If I'm responding to them in a way which is pressing, which is violent, which is kind of pushing my narrative through, that doesn't go anywhere. I want to listen to what their concerns are about why they don't do certain thing, and then bring my perspectives to them. So listening evokes this bond between the two parties who are interacting and kind of encourages this communication in a better way. Then express active empathy, and then Maitri Bhavna. So sometimes empathy needs to be shown, and not just in your actions, but also in your thoughts and words. So if you're thinking about empathy in a way from your heart, it will reflect. So this another takeaway message would be to express active empathy with people. You want to promote positive narratives. So one of the things which I do when I'm interacting or being on social media is I do interact with the posts which have positive messages. So I want to, in just my, a humble contribution to millions of likes and, gazillions of posts, I think if I can just press like or promote or say that that's a very good thought on a post which is promoting a positive narrative is a great way to contribute into healing this divide. And then set compassionate digital boundaries. So you want to curate inclusive and supportive digital spaces. And nowadays, the technology and the algorithm is learning how you interact with social media and how it kind of responds. I see Shailendra's hand up. Is there a question? Okay. So, how the algorithm sees you interacting with the post, it will actually eventually bring you those materials to you. So choosing what to look on those pages, algorithms are evolving in trying to understand what your behavior is. And our interaction with social media, encouraging positive narratives can actually shape up all of the usage of these algorithms into the direction where it is more bridged, where it is more united society. So these are like few points I wanted to share with the audiences about that. And in conclusion, I don't want to keep talking about these points more. I think we all know the values of ahimsa, anikant, and maitri bhavna. It bridges the divides and helps heal community. And we have seen some examples how that happened. Each individual's conscious effort can transform polarization into unity. So when we are making an effort to kind of diffuse a situation or trying to respond to any social media post or engagement activity, we need to be conscious about what we are doing. It cannot be very reactive. We need to actually see or think that even a drop in the ocean, eventually the ocean is made up of drops of water. So whatever you're contributing into it is actually building this huge narrative and community. And as humans, we live in a society, right? And then this small contribution of being conscious towards that change as Jains, if we implement that, it can really help us go and bridge these gaps in the society. So change begins with compassion and communicate. So change begins with compassionate communication is the thought what I want to end this talk with. Thank you so much.